Lex Luthor's battle armors have evolved from simple life support suits to godlike exoskeletons, each reflecting his genius, ambition, and obsession with defeating Superman. But it all started with designs that were as much about survival as about offense, proto-exoskeletons bridging the gap between mad scientist and armored villain. Let's dive into these early suits, exploring how they set the foundation for every upgrade Lex would later unleash. Early Lex suits. Lex Luthor's earliest armors perfectly capture that awkward moment when a genius villain starts moving from brains to brawn, but isn't quite ready to suit up in full battle armor yet. These aren't the iconic green and purple war machines we think of today. Instead, they're a mix of life support vests and proto-exoskeletons bridging Lex's mad scientist image with the eventual armored menace he becomes. Take the DC animated universe, for example. Here, Lex's life support vest isn't just some random gadget. It actively suppresses a deadly kryptonite-induced cancer that's eating away at him. The radiation that Lex uses to hurt Superman also hurts himself, so this early armor is both a crutch and a weapon. It keeps Lex alive long enough to plot and grapple with Justice League heroes. It's tragic irony wrapped in tech. The very weakness he exploits is slowly killing him, forcing him into wearing armor just to survive. That's not a flashy power move. It's desperation with a soldered-on cape. Meanwhile, on the toy front, the 1984 Kenner Superpowers line introduced gear like the Lex Soar 7, a jetpack-like rig with missile launchers that emphasize mobility and long-range offense rather than pure strength. Think of it as an early experiment in boosting Lex's battlefield options before full-on Hulk mode. These early attempts at armored offense highlight Lex's relentless drive to get that edge, even if the tech looks clunky or underpowered by modern standards. Technologically, these suits offer modest improvements, enhanced survivability, basic weapons integration, and better mobility. Lex can stay in the fight longer and harass foes from a distance, but they don't make him a powerhouse yet. The weakness is obvious. The armor lacks heavy hitting strength. One solid punch or blast from a Kryptonian is often enough to incapacitate the suit, so it's a fight for time and angles rather than brute force dominance. Narratively, these suits symbolize Lex's painful transformation from a sick man hiding behind wits to a visibly armored warrior willing to risk life and limb. They visually mark his descent into full-on villainy dressed in tech, darkly linking his quest for power with the tragic cost of kryptonite poisoning. Fans appreciate this layered storytelling depth, the suit as a life-saving device and a death sentence rolled into one. But many also critique the simpler early designs for feeling underwhelming compared to later cinematic armors that look like walking tanks. Still, there's undeniable nostalgic charm here. These early Lex suits laid the groundwork for every terrifying battlesuit that followed, turning comic book gadgetry into armor that protects as much as it punishes. Lex's first steps toward becoming a one-man war machine began with these frail but determined shells. But if you think early armor shows restraint, wait until we dive into Lex's full warsuit armor next, where green and purple plate meets raw strength that actually rivals Superman's warsuit armor. Lex Luthor's iconic green and purple warsuit is more than just flashy armor. It's the moment he stops being the guy who outsmarts Superman and starts trying to throw punches. This full-body exoskeleton was designed to physically confront the Man of Steel instead of just scheming from the sidelines. And it's a serious jump in tech and ambition. Before you think it's just a big bulky suit, hear me out. The classic warsuit isn't just muscle-bound metal. Most versions pack superhuman strength and durability to let Lex trade blows with Kryptonians, flight through jet thrusters and boots or back, and, crucially, kryptonite-based weaponry that fires projectile shots and energy beams. Some models, like the LexCorp 3000H battle armor, stand about 6 meters tall and even feature rotating shoulder cannons to rain fire while flying or charging. It's a walking symbol of how LexCorp's military-industrial power can challenge alien godlike strength. On the surface, the warsuit looks like brute force, but it's really a balance: offense, defense, and mobility. The super strength lets Lex lift tons and deliver punches that hurt heavy hitters. The armor is durable, enough to take some direct hits from Superman before cracking, but not invincible, keeping fights tense rather than turning Lex into an unstoppable machine. Flight thrusters make him a threat on the ground and in the skies, even in space where some suits seal him off from the vacuum. And the kryptonite weapons are the ace up his sleeve. Those green glowing beams or explosive rounds don't just annoy Superman, they're why Lex can level the playing field when strength alone wouldn't cut it. Here's where it gets weird. This armor isn't just tech. It's a physical transformation marking Lex's move from mastermind to frontline war machine. It mirrors his identity as the head of a powerful tech company that weaponizes everything. The green and purple colors became visual shorthand for Lex's villainous brand, showing up across comics, games, and shows as a symbol of corporate power turned lethal. Fans passionately debate which live-action versions get the look right without cheapening it, or which continuity explains the suit's tech best: pure human genius, stolen Kryptonian tech, or something apocalyptian. Spoiler, that depends on the writer. But the suit's weaknesses show up fast. Those massive power sources can be disrupted or drained, and the armor's bulk makes it clunky in tight spaces. No good for cramped alleys or underground fights. While super tough, Lex underneath is still human. One breach or system failure, and it's over. Plus, relying on kryptonite tech is a double-edged sword. It's toxic and complex to manage, limiting how long Lex can fight. Fan debates rage over the warsuit's place in Lex's arsenal, but nearly everyone agrees this design sets the standard every other suit is judged by. It's the baseline, the classic Lex. Without it, Lex trying to fight Superman physically just wouldn't make sense. That's why whenever films or shows unveil Lex in green and purple armor, the reaction is massive. People want that moment Lex steps out of the shadows, proving human ingenuity wrapped in a towering metal frame powered by kryptonite can almost stand a chance against a god. But if you think the war suit is Lex's peak gear, just wait until we dive into the next level. Suits powered entirely by kryptonite cores, where the stakes and risks get even higher. Kryptonite-powered armors. Lex Luthor's kryptonite-powered armors are the purest expression of obsession and self-sacrifice. These suits don't just use kryptonite as a weapon. The radioactive green rock powers the entire suit. It's Lex's ultimate anti-Superman gambit. When strength fails, weaponize the one thing that cripples the last son of Krypton. But kryptonite isn't exactly a health tonic for Lex either. The radiation slowly poisons him with every blast or core he activates, turning his own weapon into a personal curse. Before you call this a reckless design, there's a cold logic behind it. The suits come with advanced life support and radiation shielding built in, barely keeping Lex alive under constant exposure. Some models house kryptonite cores strategically placed to blast radiation outward, effectively turning Lex into a walking green grenade. Others even feature synthetic kryptonite generators, giving Lex an endless supply of his kryptonite ammo. But the tech isn't just brute force. These suits pack a layered arsenal, including energy weapons and powerful shields, forcing Superman to rethink his usual punch first, ask questions later approach. Narratively, these armors raise the stakes sharply. Superman can't just rush Lex without risking serious radiation damage. He has to get creative, lean on allies, or keep his distance. And there's a moral trap. Superman hates the idea of killing Lex, but destroying the suit risks hastening his death anyway. It's a toxic chess match where every move wounds both players differently. In terms of power, kryptonite armors debilitate Superman like nothing else. If he slips up close, the leaking radiation weakens his cells instantly, slashing his speed, strength, and near invulnerability. Mix that with the suit's own superhuman strength and heavy durability, and Lex becomes a multi-threat powerhouse, simultaneously punching, blasting, and draining Superman's vitality. Even other heroes get skittish. Kryptonite radiation doesn't discriminate, so anyone unlucky enough to get close is in danger. Here's where it gets dark. Kryptonite's toxicity is a double-edged sword. Lex's extended radiation exposure is canonically tied to severe health problems. Cancer, blood poisoning, you name it, making the armor as much a slow death sentence as a weapon. Despite all the shielding tech, any extended fight or malfunction worsens his condition dramatically. The suit becomes a brutal paradox. The more offense he pours into kryptonite, the more it eats away at his own body. And when kryptonite defenses are blocked or neutralized, the armor loses its signature advantage, turning into just another powered suit. For foes like Batman or Wonder Woman who aren't vulnerable to kryptonite radiation, the armor's deadliest edge disappears entirely. So every battle is a risky gamble. Fan debates over these suits could fill a library. Some claim synthetic kryptonite generators create an unfair advantage, making Lex essentially unstoppable and robbing Superman of challenge. Others argue the constant tension between power gain and self-harm keeps the fights gripping. Lex is stronger, but also more vulnerable, adding layers of complexity to his villainy. There's also debate on which suits really count as kryptonite-powered, since many mix in other tech, blurring the lines between pure kryptonite dependence and hybrid armors. Plus, different comic runs handle Lex's health effects variously. Some sidestep his radiation sickness entirely, complicating the armor's true meaning over decades of stories. At its core, Lex's kryptonite armor is a tragic monument to obsession, a genius who willingly poisons himself to stand a chance against a god. The armor is both his weapon and his executioner, a physical symbol of just how far he'll go for power, and how costly that drive truly is. It turns every fight into a complex moral and tactical battlefield, forcing Superman into indirect combat and making fans wonder, what is the real price of beating a Kryptonian? Next up, we'll dive into the LexCorp branded armors and see how corporate firepower and mass production level up Lex's battle gear. LexCorp Battle Armor. LexCorp Battle Armor isn't just Lex Luthor's personal power-up, it's a full-on corporate weapon. The LexCorp label on these suits signals something massive. This tech isn't just custom-made for Luthor's grudges, it's industrial grade, hinting at mass production and militarization on a scale few villains imagine. Lex isn't just a villain. He's a businessman turned warlord, wielding tools from both the boardroom and battlefield. Take Lex's classic battlesuits. While none officially reach 6 meters tall or sport literal shoulder cannons like a mech anime, these armors fuse heavy plating with kryptonite-based weapons designed to weaken Superman. They're tough enough to soak up direct hits from the Man of Steel, at least long enough to turn a fight into a serious threat. But it's not just brute force. Many versions include advanced tech that disrupts electronics, turning enemy gadgets into useless junk instantly. Notable appearances of LexCorp suits in various comics and animated shows add their own twists. In Justice League Unlimited, for example, the battle suit emphasizes heavy firepower and survivability over mythical perpetual energy cores, more fan theory than canon. The suit boosts strength, has energy shields, and fires kryptonite projectiles for an upper hand. It consistently includes flight and remote tech disabling systems, balancing offense, defense, and tactical disruption in true Lex fashion. What really sets LexCorp armor apart is how it captures Lex as an industrial military titan, not just a lone genius. When you see the LexCorp logo stamped on the armor, you know the same company powering Metropolis's utilities could secretly mass-produce soldiers in these suits. It's a chilling fusion of corporate legitimacy and weaponized tech, a reminder that the biggest threats don't always hide in secret lairs, but sometimes operate from skyscrapers. Combat-wise, these armors layer attacks blending raw power with tech sabotage. Projectile weapons keep foes pinned, while synthetic kryptonite aims for Kryptonian weaknesses. Add the suit's ability to disable enemy tech instantly, and Lex isn't just battling Superman. He's fighting anyone relying on gadgets or advanced weapons. Thanks to improved power sources over older, clunky models, he can sustain longer fights without worrying about losing juice mid-battle. Here's where it gets tricky. The complexity that makes LexCorp armor impressive also opens failure points. Batman-level tech experts have exploited weak subsystems and brought suits crashing down more than once. Plus, the LexCorp branding makes the suits a PR and legal nightmare. If Lex's shady military dealings get exposed, government crackdowns or shareholder revolts could limit mass production. Bad for any warlord's bottom line. The energy supply has its dark side too. While suits get more efficient, their compact, high-output power sources remain ticking time bombs. Overloads or reactor failures could cause massive explosions, potentially flattening city blocks in Metropolis. That's not exactly the plan B you want your evil tech to have, and sets up uneasy alliances between heroes and villains just to contain fallout. Fans praise LexCorp armor for perfectly channeling Lex's tycoon identity. Unlike other one-off sci-fi suits, these feel grounded in his image as a CEO weaponizing everything from real estate to R&D budgets. The synthetic kryptonite generation, device neutralization, and advanced power cores aren't just gadgets. They're shorthand for Lex's obsession with industrial-scale tech domination. That said, it's a common misconception that corporate branding means the tech is less cutting-edge or personal than Lex's one-of-a-kind suits. The reality? LexCorp armors often boast innovations surpassing earlier designs, showing breakthroughs no freelance inventor could match. Branded doesn't mean basic. LexCorp battle armor sits at a fascinating crossroads. Brutal corporate militarization meets personal vendetta. These suits symbolize tension between mass-produced power and bespoke tech artistry, with Lex straddling both worlds as industrial mastermind and supervillain obsessed with taking down Superman by any means necessary. But if you think corporate muscle is intimidating, wait until you see how Lex's armor evolves into sleek, modern high-tech variants trading bulk for agility and packing even more shocking tricks. Modern high-tech variants. Lex Luthor's armor in the late 2000s and 2010s shifts dramatically from the bulky war machines of old to sleek, modular suits built for speed, agility, and high-tech warfare. These aren't clunky 6-meter-tall mechs anymore. Instead, they're compact, efficient, and designed as much for digital battles as physical fights. The new 52 Justice League-era armor is a perfect example. It's a green and purple suit clearly inspired by the classic warsuit, but much more streamlined. This armor sacrifices size for mobility, featuring slim limbs, integrated shoulder plating, and a glowing chest core that looks like advanced military hardware rather than trophy gear. McFarlane Toys nailed this vibe, portraying Lex more as a tech-savvy strategist than a mech pilot stuck in a giant suit. Tech-wise, these modern suits pack specialized sensor suites for real-time battlefield analysis and target tracking. Integrated hacking tools let Lex penetrate enemy systems on the fly, bypassing security that would shut down less advanced gear. Most impressively, the armor includes meta-power disruption tech, devices capable of scrambling Kryptonian biology or short-circuiting magical abilities. It's the rise of digital warfare inside a battlesuit, where raw muscle gives way to network control and power denial. Narratively, these suits reframe Lex as more morally ambiguous, sometimes villain, sometimes uneasy ally. In New 52 comics and related media, Lex dons this armor while teaming up with heroes for global security, blurring clear lines between good and evil. The armor embodies this tension, with all the features of a cooperative tool but the unmistakable air of a weapon designed for domination. Fans still debate whether this reflects narrative maturity or waters down Lex's villainous edge. Live-action concept art adds to the debate. Zack Snyder's original idea was to base Lex's armor on Kryptonian tech from General Zod's suit, merging alien biotechnology with human engineering, making the armor a hybrid of otherworldly and cutting-edge tech. Though never fully realized on screen, it fueled fan discussions on comic fidelity versus cinematic realism. James Gunn's Superman reboot took a different route, giving Nicholas Hoult a fully practical, textured green and purple suit designed to avoid cheap cosplay. With visible seams, panel lines, and a militarized look, it tries to honor comic roots while grounding the armor in believable tactical reality. Fans remain divided. Some love the realism, others crave the clean, bold shapes of classic comics. In terms of strength, these suits emphasize adaptability and versatility. Modular construction lets Lex operate in urban chaos, tight spaces, or aerial battles without the mobility sacrifices of older, heavier suits. Advanced sensors feed him constant tactical data, enemy positions, energy signatures, weaknesses, a major edge when facing multiple heroes at once. Networked systems give him hacking control over allies or enemies' power sources, turning fights into psychological warfare. The armor becomes less just protection and more command center. However, this digital edge introduces new vulnerabilities. Complex computer systems leave the armor open to cyber attacks from technopaths like Cyborg or Lantern Ring users. The more connected the armor is, the more cracks savvy opponents can exploit. Meanwhile, trading bulk for agility means less passive armor protection. Lex relies on active defenses like force fields and energy shields, both disruptible or drainable. His armor may be smarter, but it's physically more fragile. Morally, the suit's resemblance to heroic designs muddies Lex's image. It turns him into a symbol of surveillance and control, reflecting modern fears about technology used to monitor and dominate rather than protect. Instead of a straightforward villain, Lex embodies contemporary worries about data power, hacking, and remote overrides, where genuine face-to-face conflict takes a back seat. Community reactions to these high-tech models are among the most passionate and divided. Many praise the new 52 armor's sleekness as a perfect fit for portraying Lex as a cerebral manipulator, not just muscle. They admire its plausible tech, meta-powered disruptions, and the narrative complexity of Lex as a conflicted figure. But hardcore fans often miss the looming presence of the classic 6-meter warsuit, feeling modern designs lack the iconic intimidation and reduce Lex to guy in a tech suit. Live-action armor debates add fuel to the fire. Snyder's Kryptonian tech idea is mourned as a lost chance to tie Lex to alien mythos, while others see it as a threat to that ultimate self-made human foe vibe. Gunn's practical suit sparked arguments over realism versus aesthetic, smooth comic-style panels or textured, battle-ready gear. Each camp has passionate takes. Much of the detailed tech specs actually come more from comics and toy lines than deep narrative explanation. McFarlane figures show advanced hacking and meta-power functions, but keep many technical details vague. This leaves room for fan theories while keeping canon flexible. It's more about implying power than defining every detail. Ultimately, these modern high-tech suits mark Lex's armor as a reflection of the digital age. Sleek, networked, adaptive, and designed for data dominance. They turn the concept from brute force into cognitive control, from raw firepower to digital warfare. But that evolution brings new mechanical and moral vulnerabilities that keep the armor imperfect. And if you think Lex's armor can't get any crazier, wait until we dive into his most powerful versions next. His most powerful versions. Lex Luthor's armors reach their absolute peak when they stop being just tech and become cosmic artifacts. His shift from brilliant human mastermind into a near-god clad in armor powered by alien gods and universal forces. The clearest example is his apocalyptian armor from the Darkseid War storyline. After Darkseid's death, the universe loses its god of evil, and Lex is fused with the Omega Sanction, ruling Apocalypse itself. This isn't just a suit anymore, it's divine energy made flesh. granting the Omega effect, devastating energy blasts, reality warping, and planetary-scale teleportation. In this form, Lex commands parademon armies and planet-sized weaponry, making Superman look like a street-level hero. Toys highlight this armor's dramatic bulk, glowing cores, and alien design, Lex beyond human limits. Then there's Lex's fusion with Brainiac in some continuities, especially the DC animated universe and certain comics. Here, Lex becomes a biological cybernetic hybrid. Brainiac's tech cures Lex's kryptonite cancer and upgrades his body into a blend of organic genius and machine precision. This fusion grants galaxy-spanning intellect, cybernetic control over technology, near immortality, and Brainiac's advanced nanotech benefits. The armor isn't just external, it's a second skin integrated with him, making Lex a post-human entity who can hack entire civilizations, control star systems, and think far beyond any normal human, more a walking supercomputer than a man. But here's where it gets strange. These top-tier armors mix science with magic and divine power, breaking the usual powered armor mold. They grant reality warping, multiversal influence, and abilities like cosmic teleportation or erasing targets with Omega beams. This armor transcends typical tech. It channels raw cosmic force wielded by a man who started as a genius CEO. The image of Lex as a godlike armored figure is the ultimate twist. Human intellect transformed into divine power. The strengths are nearly unmatched. Lex's durability rivals or beats Superman's. His offense includes planet-shattering blasts, and he commands legions plus Apocalypse's weapons platforms. The Omega effect armor manipulates reality patterns, giving control over time and existence on a terrible scale. The Brainiac fusion offers galaxy-wide cybernetic domination and strategic intellect, a Machiavellian mind at a star-spanning level. These versions push Lex from villain to cosmic threat who could reshape the entire DC multiverse. But there are weaknesses. Lex's godhood relies on external cosmic sources, Apocalypse, Darkseid's power, Brainiac's essence, making it borrowed and fragile. Break those links and he's mortal again, or worse, powerless and vulnerable. The biggest narrative risk here is power creep, since making Lex near omnipotent kills tension. Writers must humanize or limit him, or else he's just an unbeatable cosmic god, which drains the drama. Ironically, the more godlike he gets, the less compelling he becomes, losing his human flaws, rage, and pride that made him interesting. Fans are famously divided. Some love these god-tier armors as the natural extreme for a character obsessed with self-enhancement and ambition. This is Lex's ultimate evolution, a brilliant mind ascending to cosmic evil. Others prefer a grounded Lex, a human villain relying on wit and tech, not raw god power. They say these armors make him a caricature, less relatable. The Brainiac fusions feel like story arcs or temporary buffs, not permanent states. The Apocalyptian armor's connection to Darkseid's death is well documented and accepted, but fans debate how definitive it is. In the end, Lex's most powerful armors express his core theme, a human mind refusing limits, ascending beyond mortality by channeling alien, cosmic, and metaphysical forces. These aren't just armored suits. They're vessels of godhood blending tech, magic, and cosmic authority, challenging how we see human potential in the DC universe. The emotional contrast is sharp, from flawed mortal battling a god to becoming that god, only to discover godhood carries alien burdens and storytelling pitfalls. And that's the final towering step in Lex Luthor armor evolution, from man to machine to god, wearing armor that reshapes what power means in Superman's shadow. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.